Leslie sentiments, it's such an unbelievable honor to be standing here in celebration of this movement with all of you here today. I have only been here for 2 years, but it has been such a transformative experience just to see the way this movement has continued to grow and expand. And I am elated to be in a position to work with all of you to help us lead it to where I know it can go from here. Now I'm going to take a page out of Leslie's book and make a confession to all of you. Some of you will remember that last year, Leslie had confessed to not knowing automatically who her mentors were off the top of her head. I have the opposite problem. I have taken mentoring for granted my entire life. This concept of a belief gap, or that there are women who don't know that they can do and be anything because they don't have those role models, truly didn't apply to me. My mom is one of the most fiercely independent women you'll ever meet in your entire life. When I was a young child, she went back to college to complete her bachelor's degree in finance, spending 8 years and going to night school just to get her last 2 years, just because she thought it was important. So to my young horror, I saw a woman reading books with no pictures. I saw a woman highlighting text and studying for tests. I saw a woman writing papers at a typewriter, yes, a typewriter, at our kitchen table. I watched a woman excelling at math. And although my mom didn't use her finance degree, she did become a personal trainer where she got really good at bossing people around. And it's not a surprise that my mom is such an incredibly strong woman. When my mom was only 14, she lost her father to a sudden heart attack when she was on Christmas vacation with her family. My grandma, who was only 45 at the time, flew home to Chicago with her husband in a casket and came to an empty home with 3 children who not only no longer had a father, but who were also without a primary source of income. My grandma had been out of the workforce for 20 years and had been a stay-at-home mom. And now she had to go back into the workforce and figure out how to provide for her family. My grandma not only became a salesperson for Nestle's, she became one of Nestle's top sales associates almost every single month in Chicago. And people would say to her, "Elsie, you're still so young, you're beautiful, you could find another man." And she would say, respectfully, "I am fortunate enough that I already have the love of my life. I don't need a man to take me out to dinner to try to," well, I'm not going to repeat what my grandma said. But in any case, my mom grew up seeing that a woman could run a household even when all of her own plans for her future had been topped on their heads. And then there's also my great aunt Rosie, who to this day is one of my strongest mentors and one of the most incredible people in my life. Rosie was only 16 when my grandma got married, and her parents said, "Now that Elsie's gone, you're going to have to quit high school and go to work for the family." And Rosie said, "I understand, and I will certainly work and provide for my family, but I'm not going to quit high school." So Rosie went to high school full-time during the day and worked nights at a telephone company full-time, taking buses through Chicago and still what are some of the most dangerous parts of Chicago. She excelled at math to the extent that her math teacher was able to get her a full ride scholarship to the University of Illinois. Now, this is the 1940s, so that's a very impressive feat. She couldn't take it. She had to stay home and provide for her parents. But even without that college degree, my Aunt Rosie got a job as an accountant for Shell Oil, moving up in the company, investing everything she could into her 401k, and investing so well even without a financial advisor, that at the time of her retirement she was, and continues to be to this day, a millionaire. Talk about a self-made woman. So these are the women that I grew up surrounded by. These are women who defied the odds, who challenged assumptions, who never for 1 minute believed that they couldn't do something just because they were a woman. And for anyone who knows me well, it's probably not that surprising to see that I grew up with all these really strong women. I mean, even as an elementary student in Catholic school, I was always questioning why women couldn't become priests. I was a very difficult child, but I was also very much a fierce advocate for equity. And I truly never believed there was something I couldn't do just because I was a woman. So it wasn't really until I got into the working world that I started to actually understand how unique that perspective was. When I was teaching on the south side of Chicago and I saw girls defer to boys in class, even if they had equal or higher grades. When I was working at the University of Chicago Urban Education Institute and helping people get through their college ambitions, and I would see women, especially women of color, being steered away from STEM majors and other difficult majors because of unjust stereotypes. And here at STEM Connector, where I'm constantly exposed to all these stereotypes and statuses about like, there aren't enough women in STEM, there aren't enough women in the C-suite. And I understand that the belief gap is very real. And I understand that it is important now more than ever to make sure that we have those role models and mentors who are out there to help us make a difference. We have made incredible progress, but there is still so much work that remains to be done. And that is why I'm so tremendously thrilled to have speakers out there like tonight's keynote speaker, who are out there as great leaders in the community. Now, to be fair, when Oprah Winfrey's team puts me in contact with anybody, I'm going to be excited. Oprah could say, hey, can you give this piece of cheese a prominent role in your gala? And I'm going to roll out a red carpet. But when I got a chance to hear this woman's story and get to speak to her, I was over the moon. Andronica Class represents everything that this movement is about and why we do the work that we do. She is living proof that when given the right opportunities and supports, and of course mentors, that nothing can stand in the way of a woman's work regardless of her background. And in addition to her incredible success, she still finds time to give back to the community and mentor for women in technology, especially women of color. I think it's really easy when we're in a movement like this to get lost in the big numbers. We're always talking about our numbers, right? We have over 2 million commitments. We have 2 million pledges to mentor. We're in 8 countries. We're in 40-some states. And you start to lose sight of the fact that at the root of all of that are real women and girls who are truly impacted by this work and this movement. And so the actual number is around 1.7 million right now, and we're still counting. But 1.7 is a lot. 1.7 million is a lot of people. And there is a woman out there who is in a STEM major because of this movement. And there is a woman who is fighting for a leadership role in her company because of this movement. And there is a young girl who knows that she can be a computer scientist because of this movement. And there are 1.7 million of those people. And 1.7 million is a lot of people. And I should know, because you're going to see a video in a little while where my original concept was that I was going to try to animate 1.7 million icons, and my computer crashed at 16,000. So we're so excited to have all of these people in this movement, and it is our great hope that each one of those 1.7 million women will return the favor in kind and become a mentor and a role model to others in their community and exponentially continue to expand our impact. And that's exactly what Andronica Class represents. Now, I'm not here to share her story, that's what she's here to do. But I am humbled to be in the presence of this great leader who has already contributed so much to the world and who continues to lead and inspire as a STEM leader, as a mentor, and of course as a woman. And it is my great honor to welcome to the stage Andronica Class.